Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
You know, I'm sure everybody's similar to me in the fact that if I ask you, like, who are your favorite 49ers players on this roster? Who are those 2 to 3 guys that you're just like, man, I love that dude? And maybe they're not the all-pros. Maybe they're not the, top jersey seller or whatever. There's just a couple people that come to mind. And for me, number 47 on our list, he's top of the list, man. Jordan Mason, undrafted running back, Georgia Tech. Up and down, he came. This is his third year on the countdown, okay? He was 67 on 2022's countdown. Then he jumped all the way up to 33. Had an amazing rookie year, right? We'll talk about the players that he, quote-unquote, beat out, with Ty Davis-Price and Trey Sermon. He took their jobs, and now they're searching throughout the NFL because Jordan Mason said, get out of here. He was 33 last year. And this year he comes in 47, so he kind of, he's rescinded a little bit. The draft pick of, again, another draft pick coming to take his job at Isaac Guerrero, who's a great player, and I think he'll play out well. But just understand, Jordan Mason, in the short time that he's been here, he's only been a part of the 49ers for 2 years. He's left an imprint on all the players in several different games whenever he is given the opportunity. This dude balls out. And we always say this on the back end of the roster. Well, he's got to contribute on special teams. Well, guess what? Jordan Mason was third highest rated special teamer we had last year. So he just needs opportunity. And every time he gets it, the dude just dominates. Yeah, that's all there is to it. I'm going to give you some stats this episode, just so you know. And you're going to be like, wait, is that right? It's right. It's right. This dude, I'm telling you, the eye test, the analytics test, the energy test, when big number 24, he's 24 now, when you see number 24 come in the game, you just know violence is coming. This dude, he's Jordan Mason, the mirror. Jordan Mason is the mirror to Dre Greenlaw. These guys that just come in and impose violence and physicality and dictate the terms of how this football game will be played. Old school, and again, those are my two favorite players on the team. And it makes sense. Why? Because just bullies, you know what I mean? And energy and violence and train wrecks and this old school mentality, which a lot of people get, football's changed dramatically. It hasn't to J.P. Mason. This dude, yeah, he's a throwback, no doubt about it. So he comes in number 47, and he was ranked as high as 31. We had 4 separate ballots. 31 was his highest, 52 was his lowest. Very large spectrum. And again, rookies, you trade 2 fifth-round picks to go up and get Isaac Guerrero. There's value. There's, they've got capital invested there. They want him to be the guy. But one does not easily beat out Jordan Mason. And we'll have to see what that looks like. Now, you look at what he's been able to accomplish just with his build. He's the only bruising back that the 49ers actually have on their roster. You could say Elijah Mitchell runs with the physical style, which he does. The problem is he takes most of the damage, and he's always injured, right? Jordan Mason gives out the damage. And shout out to Josh, executive producer of this episode. Jordan Mason's 5'11", 225. So he's built like a bruiser. And he's only 24 years old, 1 year older than Isaac, the rookie, Isaac. And he's the same age as undrafted free agent Cody Schrader. So it's not like he's old and long in the tooth to 27, which is kind of that hill for a lot of running backs in today's NFL. He's not there. He's still got a lot of time. 4.5840. He's got speed, but he's not a top-end speed guy. He's a bruiser that runs through people. 1.5 10-yard split, really good. 7.193 cone, not too shifty. That's not his game. He don't want to be shifty. He wants to run people over. 33-inch vertical, 21 bench press reps. Dude's strong. And, it's interesting because Bobby Turner has been the 49ers running back coach for a long time. But if you remember, he stepped away for a little while. And, He wasn't the running backs coach for 1 year. He's long in the tooth. He's old, all those different things. And you bring in Anthony Lynn, who had that 1 year where he was the running backs coach and assistant head coach and all those things, which I'm a big Anthony Lynn fan. But Bobby Turner wasn't the guy that said Jordan Mason. That's an Anthony Lynn pick. But Bobby Turner was asked, what is the potential of Jordan Mason moving forward?
Unlimited. I mean, he's another player. And, throughout my career, we've had a lot of success, with those free agent down the line, low-round draft picks, etc. And I coach them all the same personally, etc. And he was already here, when I came in. But I've seen tremendous growth mentally, the way he matures in all areas of his game. And I'm still expecting a lot more out of him.
I love that, man. Unlimited potential. Unlimited power. And it's there. You see it. And it's hard to find negatives in his tape. There are some, but it's hard to find negative plays. Whether special teams, running the ball, even catching out of the backfield, has had many opportunities, but he's done it well. Pass protection is probably the biggest, that's why he doesn't get the playing time. We'll talk about that. Now, let's go through some background. He's going into his third NFL season. His high school, the Gallatin Green Wave. That's the high school he went to Georgia Tech, was a 3-star recruit, business administration. His real name is Jordan Ponchez Mason. That's why they call him JP. Jordan Ponchez, which is pretty awesome. He started playing football at age 5. That's just what he was. And a big reason why he was undrafted is he didn't get a lot of playing time at Georgia Tech. Why? Well, he's behind another freaking stud. First-round pick Jamar Gibbs was ahead of him for the few years that he was at Georgia Tech before Jamar Gibbs transferred to Alabama, right? So the year Jamar Gibbs transferred to Alabama was the year Jordan Mason was an undrafted free agent. So he never got the quote-unquote starting job. But whenever you're behind somebody like Gibbs, who's just, he's a stud. Let's just be honest. So Mason kind of went a little undiscovered. But he was a beast. He was the runner-up for Tennessee's Class 5A Mr. Football Award. First state all-state, Sumner County Player of the Year, all-district, all-county, you name it, senior captain, whatever. Also 3 letters as a center fielder in baseball, 2 as a center in basketball. This dude is just an athlete. His first cousin, Zacchaeus Mason, played college basketball at Ole Miss, and then eventually went to play professionally overseas for France and the Philippines. This dude, I'm telling you, man, you just look at Jordan Mason, and he just shines when given the opportunity. He just hasn't been given the opportunity. Big-time bowler, and he wants to start a shoe company after football. So the business administration degree, that's going to be huge and hopefully plays into that. And whenever he showed up and beat out Ty Davis Price for that job in 2022, he became just a huge fan favorite. One, he came out in the preseason, his rookie year. It just showed everybody he belonged. I mean, it was awesome. This dude was just tearing everybody up. And it's very similar to what happened with Brock Purdy. It's man, you can't let this guy go, right? We've got these other guys ahead of him on the depth chart that are quote unquote, they're supposed to be the guys, but man, tape don't lie. And the energy when Jordan Mason steps on the field, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Now, probably one of his biggest, quote-unquote, coming out, games, 2022, late in the year, it was week 14. I was at this game. It was a Thursday night game in Seattle, and it was close. It was a close game, and this is when we played Seattle, twice in 3 weeks. Jordan came in and closed out that game. It was 21-13. 49ers had the ball with 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. CMC had to come out. He was playing a lot. And Mason comes in. And again, I mean, there's 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. This dude can't fumble. Undrafted free agent. Divisional game on the road. Short week. You just keep building it up. It was a very hostile environment. Excuse me. Mason gets 6-yard rush up the middle. All right. 2nd and 4. 2-yard rush up the middle. All right, 3rd and 2. Now there's 1:16 left. If you don't get this first down, you got to punt the ball, and they could tie the game if they go down, score, get the 2-point conversion. Not what anybody wants. They hand the ball to him right up the left side, like left center. It was like the A or B gap. 55 yards. Probably the loudest I've ever heard the Seattle Seahawks stadium get for 49ers fans. Like, it got crazy loud. All the Niners fans just went bonkers. Game was over. He got downed at the 2, but he closed out the game. Defense didn't have to go back out there. Brock goes out there, kneels twice. Game's over. You swept the division. Now, here is Christian McCaffrey after that game. So this is way back December 2022, about where they started giving Jordan Mason a nickname.
Called him Mariano Rivera. He's the closer. It was awesome. That guy runs so hard. And, for him to come in and finish the game like that was awesome. Obviously had a big workload, but, to get some fresh legs in there and to close it like that was really cool. I was relieved, won the game, so I was so fired up for him and for our whole team. Yeah.
The closer. And that's, now, you don't want to take Christian McCaffrey off the field. And I understand. That is going to limit all running backs' opportunities for the 49ers as long as Christian McCaffrey's here. The versatile piece that he is, just him being out there changes the way the defense has to play and line up. I get that. With what he does in the receiving game, you don't want to diminish that. I get that. But the pass blocking snaps for Jordan Mason, that seems to be the concern. He only had 2 pass blocking snaps in all of 2023. He only had 3 pass blocking snaps in all of 2022. That's 5. That's not much for a running back. That's going to keep him on the sidelines. Now, you look at his PFF grades, holy cow. 84.7 overall. That's about as good as you're going to get. 85.4 rushing. That's crazy. 62.0 receiving. Not bad. It's not like he's missed passes or whatever else. He's just not Christian McCaffrey. And I would also argue it might not be as good as Elijah Mitchell out there either. He's got a 72.5 special teams grade, 3rd highest rated 49er in all of special teams. Dude, he just doesn't miss. Now, you look at just his offensive grade. Last year, 8th highest on the team with the 84.7. And in 2022, he was the number 1 rated player for the 49ers. PFF overall offensive grade, 92.9. Now, he doesn't play a lot. He only got 99 offensive snaps last year. But he 8 missed tackles forced. Like when he gets the ball, great things happen. 4 10-plus yard carries last year. And here's my stat, okay? You Jordan Mason truthers out there, listen big. In 2022, he averaged 6.0 yards per rushing attempt. Over a yard better than CMC. Christian McCaffrey in 2022 had 4.9. Elijah Mitchell in 2022 had 4.9. That's 1.1 yard more per attempt. Now, is he better than those guys? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the effectiveness is off the freaking charts. Now look at 2023. It regressed to the mean a little bit. He averaged 5.2 yards per attempt, still bananas, which was tied with Christian McCaffrey last year. Tied. They both had 5.2. Elijah Mitchell had 3.7. Over a yard and a half better. Exactly a yard and a half better than Elijah Mitchell. So back-to-back years with over 1 yard more per carry than Elijah Mitchell. And they're getting the ball in the same situations, right? Closeout games, short yardage, goal line, stack boxes. It doesn't matter, Jordan Mason. Matters to Elijah Mitchell. I love Elijah Mitchell. I think that he is very, very good. I do not think his ceiling is anywhere near Jordan Mason. 1, because of the health. 2, because of the size. 3, the negatives. That's the thing. He doesn't have negative plays. Just doesn't. And again, you look at the snap count last year for Jordan Mason. 99 offensive snaps, not much. 248 special team snaps. That's incredible. That's why he sticks. And especially with the new kickoff rules, I wouldn't mind Jordan Mason being one of the kickoff returners. Put him out there. Let's see what he can do. Now, you look at his stats for his career, 83 career carries in 2 years, 464 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 31 yards. And all those receptions came this past year. So that's a new element. And you saw it in training camp last year. where, man, he was just working hands, jugs machine, routes, all that stuff. And so 3 catches, 31 yards, still got a ways to go. This is his 3rd season, which, he'll be a restricted free agent after this year. So he doesn't get a sign with another team. The 49ers will have to tender him, very similar to what they did to Juwan Jennings. Now, do you trade Jordan Mason to a team like the Cowboys? God, that would break my heart. They could use him. He'd be the starter. Jordan Mason would start for, I think, probably 2 to 3 teams in the NFL. I think he'd start for the Raiders. I think he'd start for the Cowboys. There's a couple other teams you could put out. Like, he's that good of a player. Do you just keep him? Shanahan loves his running backs. And you look at the running back depth chart. All right, there's a lot of locks. Christian McCaffrey lock. Elijah Mitchell's a lock. He's free, as far as the salary cap goes. Kyle Juszczyk, he took a pay cut. He's a lock. The rookie, Isaac Guerendo, he's a lock. J.P. Mason, he's a lock. Then you got Cody Schrader and Patrick Taylor behind them. They're fighting for that practice squad spot or somebody getting injured. Jordan Mason's not going anywhere. You've got him on a cost-controlled measure for 2 years. This is Elijah Mitchell's last year. He's not going to be with the 49ers after this. Might not be with the 49ers this year. I would not be shocked if everybody's healthy. One player gets swapped, kind of like what we saw with, what's his name? Played Jeff Wilson Jr. To Miami. If you get an offer like that, I would not be shocked if that's Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason, gone. I hope we don't do that. I want to keep the depth, but if you get a good offer, you take it. But it seems like what the 49ers want, CMC's the guy. You got him locked up for another 4 years. Elijah Mitchell's the backup this year. His contract expires. He moves on. J.P. Mason would be the backup next year. His contract expires. He moves on. Then you get the rookie now, 3 years from now, stepping up into that backup. Isaac G steps in. And then that seems to be the script that the 49ers want. They want that depth. Shanahan's got PTSD when he lost 5 running backs in one training camp. Like, we've been there, and you don't want to go back there. So you've got the depth. And everybody's very, very cheap. CMC costs a lot. Kyle Juszczyk used to, but now he took a pay cut. That's not big. Elijah Mitchell, cheap, right? Jordan Mason, cheap. Rookie. Isaac Guerendo, cheap. Everybody's cheap except for CMC. And so they got this nice, look, we have our backups built for the next 4 years with CMC. Running back room's taken care of. Let's just put a bow on it. Let's keep it safe. Let's set it aside, and it's just going to work itself out. Now, the NFL never really works that way, but if the script goes to plan, Jordan Mason to be a backup next year, special teams this year, maybe kick returner, all those things. But I love this dude. Jordan Mason, like I said from the start, by far one of my favorite players. And whenever I see 24 out there, whew, man, and if he gets a bunch of snaps in the preseason, that phone might be ringing. Because he's just too damn good to be the number 3 running back in the NFL for a team. I'm sorry. I want him to stay. I don't want to trade him. But I'm telling you, there's going to be some teams coming to call it for Jordan Mason. If the Niners bury him on the depth chart like they have in the past, we'll see what happens. But for us, Jordan, we love you. Can't wait to see you, man. And for the rest of them, we'll just keep counting them down.